So, you want to be a dungeon master.
So you want to be a dungeon master.
So you want to be a dungeon.
So you want to be a dungeon master.
So, you want to be a dungeon master.
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're going to cover the brand new subclasses from the 2024 Player's Handbook. Many of the subclasses from the 2014 Player's Handbook made their way over to the new version with some minor changes, like the College of Eloquence Bard, the Berserker Barbarian, and the Circle of the Moon Druid. Some didn't quite make it yet, like the College of Eloquence Bard, the Astral Self Monk, or the Swarmkeeper Ranger. Now, we've been told that there's backwards compatibility, and we'll test that in a future episode. But for now, let's explore the new subclasses that were added just for the 2024 version. There's 3 to go over, so let's get into it. But first, let's talk about the transition from 2014 to 2024, at least for us. How has it been working?
Yeah.
How have we been doing it?
So we've had a couple of transition characters. I know that Daniel played, mainly we've been doing a lot of our playtesting through the Twitch channel, basically doing in our actual play stuff. So in the Mall Madness 99, Daniel's character was, I believe, a combination.
Evoker.
Yeah. Or is he was a purely
2024
character, right? And I'm actually in a interesting position myself because I am playing a 2024 monk with an artificer built in too. So I've got a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B on Jaster in Sphinx City.
Yeah. It's been a learning experience. Yeah. It's kind of just been, a lot of it has been Daniel. Daniel Hargrove, Daniel the DM. Check him out wherever you find social media stuff. And yeah, Daniel has been pushing for it, and it's truly just been like that's fine.
Yeah, nothing has really come up that's been like problematic.
No, nothing really.
For the most part, it's just kind of player mechanic stuff. It's more stuff to think about. In my mind, I have to keep telling myself that I have more options than I think I do.
Yeah,
because now I have a quarter staff now that I have topple with that I don't know how I'm going to use. You know, because I have mastery and I have and I have the staff, so I can do it. I just have never really come across it. That's just a new option in battle. There's a million things that it's been working pretty good. I mean, as far as just the backwards compatibility thing that they're talking about, seems like that is the case. It is fairly backwards compatible with all of our stuff at this point, because you're still using 2020 or 2014 monsters and stat blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly because that stuff the monster manual hasn't come out yet, has it? Or has it?
I don't think it's officially out yet.
Okay.
At the time of recording this, at least. But it's really just been pretty simple for the most part. I think truly a big part of that is the fact that we haven't had any 2 people playing the same class and therefore having one 2014 and one 2024. So that's not an issue. I think the only time I've raised an issue, and it's not an issue, but raised concerns or anything, is just hey, if Daniel's using 2024 and he's using what's a spell that's been changed? What's that spell where you can pick the damage type?
Chromatic Orb?
Chromatic Orb. Chromatic Orb. In 2014, Chromatic Orb is weaker than it is in 2024. So if you have a player at your table who's using the old version and a different player who's using the new version, that's imbalanced. And I think that's where you could run into issues.
Yeah, and on D&D Beyond, it makes it pretty clear which ones are what, because now all the spells, the 2014 spells, all are marked legacy on there, so you can kind of tell. But I see what you're saying about having 2 people casting the same spell and getting different results.
Yeah, just the potential.
I think at that point, though, you would just kind of need to sit down at the table and be like, hey, for this spell, if it winds up coming down to this, where 2 players have the same spell, and they might not even realize it at the time, with the spells being picked or whatever, that, it is as different. It's a conversation for the table as far as what we're doing with it, but
no doubt. Yeah, and it just like small things. I think the first time we had it happen with Daniel choosing to go 2024, there was a discussion because I have always fallen into the Tasha's camp when it comes to giving ability score increases based on your ancestry or D&D race or whatever. Mm-hmm. And obviously in 2024, they moved away from that altogether. The ability score increases are tied into your background.
Right.
So just making sure that like Daniel isn't getting a +2 because he's a sage and then +2 also from being, let's say, a half orc. Like that would be wrong. It's like, no. You get the +2 and the +1 at level 0. Whether that comes from your ancestry or comes from your background is the same. It doesn't really matter. It's a +2 to one skill, +1 to another. Yeah. Plain as day. The only other little tiny thing is like backgrounds give you a feat now. Mm-hmm. So like there could be some discussion there about making sure that everyone still sort of has the same number of feats. Feats in general is something that you maybe would want to go over, because if the 2024 person gets Warcaster, they get all the things that Warcaster does, but they also get a +1 to a skill. Right. Or an ability or whatever. So like there's little things like that you have to worry about, but for the most part, it's been really easy. Mm-hmm. I can't see it being that big of a deal so far, at least. It's just been things you need to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just makes you, on the DM side of things, you got to take a step back and kind of assess which form of the rules that you're going to be using, and then roll with it, and then, stick to it. Make sure that it's fair across players. Make sure that everybody at the table knows, okay, we're using the 2024 version of Chromatic Orb. End of story. We're using, this rules.
Hey gang, we wanted to talk to you about something pretty important real quick. See, we have some really cool ideas for the future, but we need your help. You can do that by supporting us through our Patreon. At the lowest tier, you get early access to podcast episodes, access to episodes of Action Surge, our post-session table talk show, and entry into a private channel on our Discord server. At the next tier, you can get access to Bonus Action, our bonus content podcast where we talk about a huge variety of D&D and TTRPG related things, like Multi-Class Mystery Mashup, where we get 2 random classes and have to build a character, or Monster Matchmaker, where we go over our favorite monsters at each CR level, or recaps of our home campaign, plus so much more. Joining the Patreon helps us continue to grow and put out content that gets better and better as we learn, improve, and try new things. So, check out the link in the description to join the gang today.
I did have a question about you, or a question for you about this stuff. How do you feel about the new attack options of like shove and grapple and stuff like that? It's all saving throws now.
Oh, true.
Because like I'm also, I've got a martial class that I'm playing in Sphinx City, and I actually we haven't really talked about it too much, but like when I do my unarmed strike, I have options of doing other stuff with an unarmed strike other than trying to hit.
Yeah, and it puts it down into what is the saving throw against? Like, where do you get the saving throw from?
So target must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw. It chooses which against my proficiency bonus plus strength for grapple. Yes, proficiency bonus plus strength. So it's basically the same thing. But it's just a saving throw, so it's just a static number you got to beat. So for my character, it's a freaking 13 for grapple.
Yeah, because you're a monk and you use dexterity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't really even know. I don't know why that change was made in the first place. I guess just to make everything saving throws so that there is no contested rolls, so that things are just different.
Right.
But
I guess.
Seems really interesting to me, because what about the hex spell? Does the hex spell just do even less now? Because now you're never making strength checks?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know that was a big difference.
It's something that I noticed as I was going over my sheet the last time. I'm down to do it whatever. The old way is just as good to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we've always done. It's just
role.
a strength contest. It's just having it be in a contested role. But it certainly is interesting because wouldn't that also nerf Barbarian's ability to grapple and stuff? Because you wouldn't be making the strength check with advantage because it's just the bad guy makes a check against your thing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I hate it.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean about the 2024 version in general. Is like there's just small changes like this where you're like, oh, that's changed? Interesting. Yeah, I guess. Okay. And then you're just sitting here going, why did they change it? Like, why even fucking touch that? There was so many people who were complaining about contested checks. I don't understand. And now I'm just thinking of all of the ways that nerfs so many different little abilities. It's crazy to me because there's some abilities that they've changed that are just so much better. Like the monk is the shining example of improvement for 2024. It's just better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there are so many other ones where you're like, okay, I guess they changed it. Fantastic. Like I feel totally indifferent.
Who asked for this?
Yeah.
It's a lot of it. A lot of it feels like, who asked for this?
Who was really complaining about chromatic orb where they needed to make it different? I feel like it was a fine spell on its own. But okay. Yeah. I don't know. There's been so much like for Dale, he's playing a fighter.
And he's gone completely 2024, right?
Not completely. No. He's just adding on weapon masteries.
Okay.
And I think it's some of it. I think it has to do with like, we're getting into the mid-level game, and like I don't want to overwhelm Dale by changing his entire character build up and being like,
right
now every time you do second wind, here's another little thing, and instead of using your action surge for this, you can use it for that, and just like I don't want to boggle him down with millions of changes.
Right.
So I just so far have added on here are weapon masteries. You get a bunch of them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean he gets. As a fighter, you get 3 right from the jump, and then you get to change one every single long rest. So if you stop using your hand axe and start using a different weapon, you can change it out. And he's got a long sword and a dagger. So he's got like Nick, Vex, and I don't know, Sap or something. I forget what they're all fucking called.
Yeah.
Some of them have dumb names. Like they're just like names that are not intuitive.
Right.
Like they don't like just you hear Vex and you're like, okay.
What does that mean?
To be annoying? To be vexing?
Right.
I don't fucking understand. This whole update is annoying. But okay. Now,
all right.
Enough of us just shitting on 2024 as per usual. They have come out with some new subclasses. So these are brand new, never before seen. And some of them are pretty cool. And let's talk about them.
Okay.
First off, we have the Path of the World Tree Barbarian. Pretty cool. This is very Kratos coded because I've only played the one where you fight a lot of Norse stuff.
Oh, the Norse one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. But honestly, you can hit or miss on the other ones. The other ones are good from like a gameplay standpoint, but the storyline, meh. God of War, the new one with Christopher Judge, oh my God.
Yeah, those are the only ones that I'd be interested in playing. I can't go back. But
yeah.
It truly is. This subclass is very interesting to me. It's a lot of fun. It's always interesting to me when they add a subclass that feels very like setting specific. Like it feels a little pigeonholey of like, well, you need to have a world tree and you need to have your barbarian give a shit about this world tree. And it's like you would have to do a little bit more work to flavor outside of the world tree thing because all of the fucking abilities are named and based off of having this world tree, this Yggdrasil or whatever the fuck it's called.
Right.
Going through the world,
Yeah.
Whereas like, I mean, we just recorded a Pokemon subclass homebrew thing, but like the friendship domain for clerics, I mean, that could apply to fucking anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You can make 10 friendship domain clerics and they're all totally different. World Tree Barbarian, I guarantee if you make 10 World Tree Barbarians, 5 of them are going to be the fucking same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels a little limiting.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of people do this when they make homebrew classes and subclasses and stuff. And it's the same thing. It feels very, like, limiting. I don't know. Like, people make, like, weird subclasses for homebrew stuff. And it's like, so hyper-specific where it's like, well, I would never play this because I don't want to make... I don't know. My personal feelings
because I hate
subclasses and stuff.
I'll never do it because I hate.
I hate it. I hate how it feels like you have to do it this way, and it's like, what's the fucking point? I want to do it in a million different ways.
I mean, you could probably use these same feats for, just call them something different.
That's what I mean. You'd have to figure it out. You'd have to figure out a sort of different way of flavoring this.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's get into it. Level 3, we do Vitality of the Tree. For one, the first thing you get is the Vitality Surge. When you go into Rage, you get temp HP equal to your level. Barbarian level, not character level. And then also you get the Life-Giving Force. At the start of each of your turns, while you're raging, you can choose another creature within 10 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points. The number of temp HP you get is X D6, where X is your damage bonus.
Yeah, so like when you rage, you do +2 extra damage.
Right.
So it'd be 2d6.
Okay.
Because X would be 2 there. And then eventually you level up and you do 3 extra damage, and then it would be 3d6. So on and so forth.
Okay. And then those temp HP go away when your rage ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because, I mean, it just, obviously you get a huge temporary HP boost. Temp HP has made a huge strides in 2024. They make it out everywhere, but which is kind of one of those things where it's like, it sounds good because you're like, wow, you temp HP from so many things. And then
but you can only have temp HP.
You can only have it from one source. Like, it never stacks. Yeah. So then it just is like, hey, all of those character abilities where you can, like, this whole thing of at the start of your turn, for no action economy, you can just give temp HP out every single fucking turn while you're raging. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a druid on the team who's using wild shape because that uses temp HP now? Can't give it to the fucking druid because they have temp HP from somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, it feels actually like stupid because it's just like, you can't, every fucking class gets temp HP their own way. Can you even give it to other people? Does it stack in different ways? And it's just like, ugh, I don't know.
Got some strong feelings about this class.
I have strong feelings about the entire update because it just feels like we just gave everybody different ways to get temp HP. And then it's like, all right, we'll never pick the Inspiring Leader feat because that's useless now.
Right.
Like, don't worry about using the aid spell ever because they're going to get rid of it and get temp HP from a different source. Like, it just seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, because otherwise, this would be insane. This would be so powerful.
Guess it just means you need to throw more attacks and just burn through all of their temp HP as a DM.
Yeah.
And then then they'll need that temp HP.
That's really what it's going to come down to, is that this ability will just get more important as the new monsters are dishing out way more damage.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I think. It feels like the creators just moved the goalposts. They made the players way more powerful, and then they just made the monsters more powerful. And then it's just like, so we just moved the goalposts.
Right.
We didn't actually change anything, really. I don't know. But
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so that's the level 3 Vitality of the Tree, or of the Earth Mother. You know, there we go. Bam. There's your reflavor right there.
There you go. And level 6, we get Branches of the Earth Mother, or the tree. More tree-based stuff. Whenever a creature you can see starts its turn within 30 feet of you while your rage is active, you can take a reaction to summon spectral branches around it. The target must make a strength saving throw, which is just 8 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus. If they fail, they can be teleported within 5 feet of you or to the nearest unoccupied space you can see. After the target is teleported, you can reduce its speed to 0 until the end of the current turn. So that's
okay.
Pretty fucking nuts.
Whenever a creature you can see. Okay, so it's a reaction, so you can't just spam it, but still.
Yeah, it's nuts. You're forcing, like you're making it so that you're always the front line. And you're just moving where the front line is. The front line is always where you are.
Right.
So the bad guy is trying to go after your back line, trying to go after your healers or something. If they start their turn within 30 feet of you, boom.
No, you're
coming to me.
You're staying with me, buddy.
Because if they fail that strength save, they get teleported within 5 feet of you, and then their speed is 0.
Yeah.
So they either have to use a teleport ability to get away from you, some other like monster ability to get an extra movement or something like that.
It says you can reduce its speed to 0. What if you don't and then let them run away and then you get an opportunity attack on them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that. There's a lot of, and then you have Sentinel, so then they can't move anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, ton of possibilities there.
I love that. That's a fun move.
And in theory, you could do this to a friend also.
True.
Because it doesn't do any damage.
It just says
it stops them
creature
from moving potentially. But you could just pop a friend closer. Mm-hmm. And they can probably just choose to fail the save.
A lot of versatility. As a barbarian, that's a fun move.
It's really, really cool. It's a great ability.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a ton of crowd control for a barbarian. Mm-hmm. Just teleporting people all over the place. And we get some extra teleport stuff later on. But first, at level 10, you get Battering Roots. Your reach increases by 10 feet with any heavy or versatile weapon. So already fucking nuts because you're talking about a minimum reach of 15 feet.
Right.
What? That's nuts, dude. Absolutely fucking bananas. And then when you hit with such a weapon, either a heavy or versatile weapon, you can also activate the push or topple mechanic in addition to a different mastery property that you're already using with that weapon.
What? It's crazy. Okay, so now you can like double down on mastery skills in the turn.
Potentially, yeah. It depends on, it gives you the option. You have more options.
Mm-hmm.
You have push or topple in addition to whatever your weapon normally has. It depends on the ability because there's some abilities that are very specific, like you can only use this once per turn.
Okay.
Or like once per attack or something like that.
So okay, like so it's not you're not able to do like an ability and then also push. It's just adds it to the list of things that you can do with that. Okay.
I think so. You can also activate the push or topple addition. No, I think it is an addition. Push or topple in addition.
In addition to a different mastery property. So you can do two masteries with the one attack.
Potentially. But who knows? I think so. Yeah. But it does see like that as a DM sounds to me like too much. That sounds crazy to me. Because when you get to you're level 10, you already have 2 attacks. So you're telling me that you can push on 2 separate attacks and do a different mastery, like either to give yourself advantage or give, disadvantage on the monsters next, or whatever the fucking masteries are that you have. Like, it just seems too much. It's just like, what are we doing? You're going to do this every turn?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I was looking at some of the masteries. They're so cool, and it's like such a great idea. It just feels like they missed the mark because there are some that it's like, well, you use this mastery. When you hit with this attack, you get advantage on your next attack. And it's like, okay, well, if you're a fighter and you have 3 attacks, 2 out of your 3 attacks, assuming you're hitting and stuff, you constantly have advantage.
Right.
And it's just like, what the fuck is the point? I don't know. It feels like they just made everything easier. Like, it just, there's no challenge. I don't know. It feels like they were just like taking certain players who are like, I don't like it when I don't hit. And it's like, well, that's part of the fucking game. Dice are a random number generator. Sometimes you're not going to miss or you're not going to hit. Sometimes your spell doesn't work. And it's like, no, don't worry. We put in all these fail safes so that you and your little tiny creature. We don't want to hurt your feelings. That's what it feels like. It feels like a fucking bunch of hand holding. People are going soft. That's how I feel.
D&D players these days are soft.
Soft, dude. They can't fucking handle not. Sometimes shit doesn't work. I don't know.
Anyway, level 14.
That's level 10. Yeah, level 14.
Level 14, travel along the tree. So when you activate your rage, and as a bonus action, when your rage is active, you can teleport yourself 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. So this is a free goddamn double Misty Step every turn as a bonus action. Okay, yeah. And then once per rage, you can increase the teleport range to 150 feet, and you can take up to 6 willing creatures who are within 10 feet of you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd have so much fun with this class. I don't even care about the flavor. I would have so much fun with this class.
Yeah. I mean, just simply being able to bonus action teleport 60 feet every single fucking turn for your rage. Right. Which, now here's the thing, because we're only going over the subclass, but the base class of Barbarian has changed in 2024. Mm-hmm. Your rage can last up to 10 minutes instead of 1 minute.
Fuck.
So that's insane. Now here's one of the big differences. Your rage in 2014, it would end early until you get into the higher levels where you get like extra rage stuff, you know?
Yeah, concentrated rage.
Yeah, your rage would end early if you didn't make any attacks or you didn't take any damage.
Right.
But now the Barbarian has another couple ways to keep their rage going.
Okay.
So if your rage is still active on your next turn, you can extend the rage for another round by doing one of the following. Make an attack roll against an enemy. That's the same.
Uh-huh.
Force an enemy to make a saving throw. So I guess a grapple or some shit.
Okay.
Or you can take a bonus action to extend your rage.
Oh.
So if for some reason but it never mentions taking damage. They've removed that.
Right.
That's not a thing anymore. You have to be making attacks and or forcing saving throws. Otherwise, your bonus action can't be used to teleport. Your bonus action has to be used to keep your fucking rage going, which locks you into the... I mean, granted, Barbarian, chances are you're going to be making attacks all the fucking time anyway, so it shouldn't come up that often, because, man, that would suck if you have to constantly be using your bonus action to just keep your rage going. But that could come into effect.
It'd be an interesting encounter to build.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just crazy to be able to teleport this much.
The FU Barbarian, yeah. We're going to make it so you're going to have to make some choices. Keep your rage or what.
So much teleporting.
Yeah.
It really is crazy.
That's a lot of movement. That is a lot of movement.
It is. It's an insane amount of movement. Not to mention, I mean, being able to teleport your entire party.
Yeah.
150 feet potentially, as long as they're within 10 feet of you, which is pretty close, but still. Even just doing it, not your whole party, but even just a couple other members of your party is insane. Once per rage, too. You get so many rages. Yeah. Very powerful.
Very fun. This class looks like a lot of fun. I think if I ever do a Barbarian, it's probably going to be this one.
This one does seem really fun. I mean, it truly is just a ton of mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a fuck ton of mobility.
It's a lot of mobility. It's a lot of, it's a lot of crowd control because you have the first one, the branches of the tree. You have so much reach. You don't necessarily even have to get to who you're trying to get to. It's crazy. Crazy.
Wild. Yeah, it would just be a question of the flavor of it and just trying to figure out how that would work. Because, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think, like, let's say hypothetically we're Sphinx City and you come to me, or any player comes to me and says, I want to do this new Barbarian.
Right.
And then it's like, I have to sit here and be like, all right, well, I don't want there to be a fucking world tree. Like, I just don't want that in my world.
I feel like this could...
there's easy ways around it. I'm just saying, like,
that's
my only beef with this, the flavor of this.
I would do like a nature deity or something could work for this, like just make it kind of more of a domain type of deal.
Yeah,
rather
you could do a nature deity. You could even just do like the fucking internet. Power lines and shit. You know what I mean?
Life travel along the net.
The grid.
The
Fucking
grid.
Static Shock style. Who knows?
All right.
But yeah,
Cool.
there you go. That's the
the
Barbarian.
thing.
Pretty good, I think. I'd say that
Mhm.
one is very strong. Very, very strong. Next up, we have a Bard subclass, the College of Dance.
Okay.
I love it on its face just because anytime that
imagining-
they add a subclass to the Bard that plays on the idea of the performance aspect of Bards and kind of gives us other options other than just either musicality or vocal performance.
Right.
It's fun. It's just a cool idea. It's really interesting to think about how you would do this and how you would make it feel different other than, what kind of dance are you doing?
Right.
But let's get into these abilities because at level 3, you get a bunch of stuff, but they all fall under this ability called Dazzling Footwork.
Okay.
Now, here are some of the big things. This subclass depends on you not wearing armor or using a shield,
Wild.
but you get unarmored defense. So let's get into it. First off, you get Dance Virtuoso. Dance Virtuoso, you have advantage on any performance check if it involves dancing. Pretty basic, pretty easy. That makes sense. Unarmored defense. Your AC is 10 plus your dex and your charisma modifiers.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Okay.
So, just like a monk and a barbarian, but changes the secondary thing from either wisdom or con to charisma.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Charisma is going to be your probably strongest ability. And then dexterity is probably your number 2 anyway, if not constitution. So your AC is probably looking at obviously you'd have to get to level 3 to get this. So by level 3, you're probably looking at a 17?
17, 18, 17, something like that. Yeah.
As high as a 20 if you had 5s in both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely. I'd be spending I don't think I'd be doing any feats. I'd be spending as many ability score increases on just getting my dex and my charisma both to 20s.
Same. Absolutely. And it really depends on where you're at because with the changes in feats all having some kind of point, like a +1.
Right.
Depending on where you're at, could use some of those feats to help you get there. Not to mention, it opens up. There's a bunch of magic items that add things to your AC.
Right.
That aren't specifically aren't armor.
Yeah.
Like the bracers of defense. So that is wild. It's pretty crazy. Now, you also get Agile Strikes. When you expend a Bardic Inspiration as an action, a bonus action, or a reaction, so just any possible ways that you may do a bonus or Bardic Inspiration, you can also make an unarmed strike as part of it. That's cool. You get to use your dexterity instead of strength for your unarmed strikes. When you deal damage, you can deal bludgeoning damage equal to a roll of your Bardic die plus your dex mod instead of the normal damage value. So that's pretty cool. Your Bardic does go up as you level up. And this roll does not expend a Bardic die.
Okay. So this is martial arts for bards.
It's martial arts for bards. Yep.
I like it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I enjoy that.
You're pretty much Eddie
a lot
Gordo
of fun.
from fucking Tekken.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hell yeah, dude. A little bit of capoeira. A little bit of really cool breakdancing fighting. And that's all at level 3, giving us our base stuff with the Dazzling Footwork. Level 6, you get Inspiring Movement. When an enemy you see ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you can burn a Bardic die as a reaction and move up to half your speed. Then, an ally within 30 feet of you can also move up to half their speed. None of these movements provoke opportunity attacks.
Wow.
Pretty solid. Now, you do have to burn a Bardic die to do this. So, that is pricey because, again, I can't stress it enough. Bardic die is a precious resource. It does really recharge. I think at 5th level, it starts recharging on a short rest, but you're going to be lucky to ever have 6 Bardic die. So it's like using one just for the sake of this movement. It's one of those things where it's going to come in clutch when you do need it, It's why it's sometimes always safe to just keep a bardic die close to your chest and not burn through all of them. Because you never know when you're going to need this, when you're like, I can't afford to get hit right now. Maybe you're concentrating on a really important spell, or like you're very, very low health or something like that, you know?
Right. So this, though, it would have to be after the thing takes its attack on you, because if it's got to end its turn within 5 feet of you to get away.
No doubt, yeah.
But,
or it's like,
but just not provoking opportunity attacks, though. That's
as
hell.
Exactly. And it's like sometimes you're already in the process of running away from this monster, or at least, putting distance in between yourself. So then the monster has to use their action to dash just to get up to you.
Right.
Then you can say the ultimate F you, where you're like, you just used your whole fucking turn to get close to me. And now I can
fell for my trap card.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's the Scout Rogue, I think, has a ability that's very much similar to that. Because it can be brutal. So frustrating when you're like, this guy's got to dash just to get to you. And as soon as they do that and the player's like, is that the end of their turn? Okay, cool. I'm going to use my reaction to move a ton of feet. You're like, damn it. So that's inspiring movement. We also, at level 6, get another thing called tandem footwork. Now, when you roll initiative, you can expend a bardic die as long as you're not incapacitated. And when you do, each ally within 30 feet can add that roll to their initiative.
Wow. Okay.
Huge potential bonus here to initiative. Pretty freaking powerful. Pretty freaking powerful. Now, it's hard not to think about the Oath of the Watchers paladin. Because I remember Dr. Watson having an ability that was, I would argue, better than this because it was constant. There was no rolling dice.
It's just an aura. Yeah.
You didn't have to expend a resource, or because the bard has to burn a bardic for this. Now you're helping the entire party out, so that's awesome. But what if you roll a 1? I would be fucking furious.
Right.
I just burned a bardic and I got we got a +1,
yay.
I mean, obviously it could make a huge difference because your entire party could be surprised, where you have disadvantage on the initiative roll because there's no surprised condition anymore, and then boom, you guys roll really well on the bardic and you go first before all of the people who surprised you. I hate some of these changes, Taylor. I cannot believe they ruined surprise.
Yeah. Surprise, I don't know. I liked the 3-5 way of doing surprised. Of
as
just
a whole round.
Having just a surprise round. And during this round, these people have advantage on their attacks, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of cool with that too, and that's kind of loosely how I did it. Maybe not with the advantage part, but I loosely did it that way until I found out that it wasn't technically a round. But it was like, you kind of just do it that same way. It's like, are you surprised? No? Then you get to do shit this round, and if you are surprised, then you don't get to do shit this round. And that was as simple as it needed to be.
Right.
And now it's like, just this disadvantage thing is so stupid. It just feels like not honoring what surprising somebody actually means.
Right.
Like, even though it's unlikely, just the idea that it's possible to outroll somebody who has surprised you is crazy to me. And that's why I hate it. Because of however small of a percentage of the chance it is, the fact that it's even possible to be like, oh my God, an assassin snuck up behind me and put a blade to my throat. But I rolled better, even though I rolled at disadvantage and they rolled advantage. That's fucking dumb. But here we are. Anyway.
Here we are.
So that's level 6. Tandem footwork. A little bit of potential to use your bardic in another way.
Mm-hmm.
And level 14, we get leading evasion. You get the evasion ability.
Hell yeah.
Sick. Always a good thing. But here it's even better because anyone who's within 5 feet of you when you do this dex save, they also get evasion.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. So you could save the whole party with this.
If your party is only however many people there are squares around you. But yes, in theory, you could. Yeah.
It's 9 squares or 8 other people.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Technically,
most of the time,
yeah.
you definitely could. It's a catch-22 because you never want to be that bunched up, but
Right.
also this ability depends on you being bunched up.
Right.
And
right.
one of the reasons you don't want to be bunched up is because of the types of big effects that are usually deck saves.
right.
But then they throw shatter at you and you're fucked. Your evasion can go fuck itself. So
true. Very true. Very
tricky. But there are like certain dragons that you just defeat with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You fight a white dragon, you're still fucked. But a red dragon,
right. Yeah.
a blue dragon, now you're talking. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see this in action. I know Daniel's been talking a little bit about the College of Dance Bard. I think that would be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It would be just fun to see him play a bard. I mean, he played one during the one shot that I did with them for Proxy's server when we did the Trans Empowerment Project fundraiser. Mm-hmm. That one shot was fucking wild, by the way. Holy shit, dude. But it was so much fun. Everyone got to do a big grand entrance. That was Act 1. Act 2 was meeting a bunch of NPCs and then a belly flop competition into a hot tub full of lava because they're in the hells.
Okay.
They're in the 9 hells, so, gotta spice it up. Mm-hmm. And then Act 3 was a masquerade ball. There was a secret demon who crashed the party because demons hate devils and vice versa.
Yep.
And then Daniel's character won the belly flop competition and got a wish from Asmodeus. And his wish was for him and his betrothed to become mortal so that they could go to the material plane. Fucking crazy. It was dope, dude. It was actually a lot of fun. It worked out really well, but I was shitting bricks before it. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this, dude? I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what's going to happen. It was like the loosest I've ever had plans. But I had a ton of contingencies, but still, it was very nerve-wracking. Yeah. But it worked out great.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's get into the last one here.
Last one. We have a Circle of the Sea Druid.
Amazing.
Oh, boy.
I know one of my best friends would eat this circle up. She loves ocean stuff. Like turtles.
Ocean stuff is fun.
So, all right. So, actually, funny story about one of my earliest times playing DMing in 5th edition for somebody who has not played. We just did like a little one shot for like, hey, go here and fight a red dragon, and I made everybody the appropriate. I think it was like level 15 or something like that. And she made like a sea type druid. And I didn't know any better at the time. And she's like, I want to transform into a kraken. It's a beast.
Oh, I remember this story, bro.
And she's like, I've seen a kraken before. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, well, I've got a million things going on right now. Just send me the spell text of how. I don't think that works, but like, what's the spell text of Wild Shape? And conveniently, it got left out that the level requirement on these things. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess sure, you can be a kraken, and
or that krakens aren't beasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that's so funny. I mean, we've all been there, but that is a huge huge oversight.
I started paying a lot closer attention to the rules after that.
Yeah, man, druids can fucking get you.
Yeah. But anyway, Circle of Sea. This sounds like a lot of fun.
It certainly can be. This is going to be one that I think in many ways will depend, like how good this is going to depend a little bit on the setting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's get into it. Let's see if it really does. It sounds like it, right? Just based on what it's called. Vibes. It sounds like you need to have coastal, aquatic, pirate ships, some kind of shit. But maybe not. Maybe there's a way to make this work. We'll see. My memory of this, when I wrote this down, I remember that there's one ability, this like Wrath of the Sea thing. And it kind of just like, it's like the big changes that they made to Ranger, where they were like, hey, Rangers, do you like Hunter's Mark? Well, too bad, because you're just getting 1,000 uses of Hunter's Mark, and all of your other abilities are based on your Hunter's Mark. And so you need to be using Hunter's Mark, or you're not even a Ranger. And so this one felt a little bit like that, where it was like, here's this one ability. All of the abilities past that, just build on that ability. But let's.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So at level 3, first off, you're going to get your Circle of the Sea spells.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally Druids used to start at level 2. Now they start at level 3, like every other subclass across the board. They all start at level 3. So a lot of times with like clerics and wizards even and stuff like that, where you get extra spells, usually now the level 3 one is just more spells all at that first jump, you know? So there's like some cantrips in here and shit. So at level 3, Druids are always going to have prepared Fog Cloud, Gust of Wind, Ray of Frost, Shatter, and Thunder Wave. Pretty solid. Solid.
That's all the spells you need right there. That's it.
Pretty much. I mean, they're all really good. Ray of Frost is a really solid cantrip.
Like circle spells, and you can still have other stuff on top of this is really dope.
Yeah, it's solid. And then at level 5, we are going to get Lightning Bolt and Water Breathing.
Fuck yeah.
Water Breathing, insanely situational, but when it needs to come up, couldn't be more useful.
Right.
Lightning Bolt, one of the greatest spells in the game.
Yep.
Some people may make the argument that Fireball is better because a sphere is a little bit easier to figure out and hit more people than a straight line is, but I like the challenge of Lightning Bolt and the visuals of it, which is fucking cool. Then at level 7, you are going to get Control Water and Ice Storm.
Nice.
Pretty sick. Control Water has a lot of interesting applications, including tipping over entire ships. It's nuts. And then level 9, you're going to get Conjure Elemental and Hold Monster.
Hell yeah.
Very freaking cool.
That's a solid spell list.
Don't forget that Conjure Elemental, at least in my memory, has changed drastically.
Has it?
In the change. Yeah, well, remember like Conjure Woodland Beings and Conjure Fae and everything, how they're now just like different versions of Spiritual Guardians practically?
Right.
I'm pretty sure Conjure Elemental is very similar. Like, I don't think, I'm looking it up as we speak, but conjure hold on, I need to make sure I'm looking at the right fucking one. 2024. You conjure a large intangible spirit from the elemental planes that appears in this thing. Choose the element, and that's its damage type. Whenever a creature you can see enters the spirit's space or starts its turn within 5 feet of the spirit, you can force the creature to make a dexterity saving throw. If the spirit has no creature restrained, then the target takes 8d8 damage and is restrained. At the start of each of its turns, the restrained target repeats the save. Okay. So it doesn't even look like it can move.
Yeah, that's
dumb. It's a ton of damage, but it's dumb.
It's a ton of damage, but it's kind of dumb.
Yeah. So you're just conjuring an elemental spirit. Just use your fucking imagination in terms of what it is.
Yeah.
It takes up a 10 by 10 cube, and hopefully they walk into it or close to it, because if they don't, it can't move. So
how dumb.
Yeah. That's what I mean. There's some changes. I mean, just go back and use the legacy one.
Yeah.
We talked about it at the top of like, you know, the 2 different versions and how you make it work and stuff like that. Talk to your players. Hey, which one do you want? I don't fucking care. I know if I was a player, I would want the old version. I want the legacy version. I want to summon an actual fucking elemental.
Yeah. I mean, is there another spell that is like the old Conjure Elemental where you like summon like a, I don't know, in Baldur's Gate it's like a weird thing, conjure like a djinn or something like that.
Well, there's in Baldur's Gate they're using it's Conjure Elemental, but it works like the 2014 version. There is Summon Elemental.
Okay.
Because that's the difference. At least that's kind of what I've noticed over the months of this transition period. Is that when you have spells that start with the word conjure animals, conjure woodland beings, all that shit.
Right.
Those are the ones that in 2014, you're just summoning that fucking thing. conjure animals. You conjure a bunch of animals. You get to choose what they are based on their CRs and da-da-da. Old school. Then they changed it in 2024. Now conjure animals is essentially spirit guardians, but animals. Ha ha ha. Crazy. Then you have spells that start with the word summon. Those mostly were introduced in Tasha's. And for the most part, they are unchanged between 2014 and 2024.
Okay.
So you have things
the one
like
where you actually summon the ally.
Yeah, but it has like its own stat block.
Right.
So like summon construct, and you summon a construct, but there's like a specific stat block that says armor class is 13 plus the level of the spell. And its slam attack does 1d8 plus 4 plus the spell's level. You know what I mean? It's like you get it. It has its own stat block. You're not choosing a Modron from the monster manual and summoning that, you know? So that's the difference.
Okay.
So, yeah, you could look at this because summon elemental, they have it, and it's obviously, just like I said, it's an elemental spirit. And you could summon that. It's 4th level instead of 5th level, so it might not be as nearly as much damage, but it's having another body on the field. Because the way it stands now, Conjure Elemental, you can't touch it. As long as the bad guys just stay more than 5 feet away from it, it is useless. It can't be moved. It can't do anything. It can't be hit. So it's not like an extra target that you can at least have its hit points help you out by providing another target. So very interesting. But anyway, level 9, you get Conjure Elemental and you get Hold Monster, which is still dope. Still a great spell.
It's still a great spell.
Thank
God.
God.
Notes.
Thank God some things stay the same. So then those are all your Circle of the Sea spells. Then we get our big ability, our Hunter's Mark, if you will, Wrath of the Sea.
All right.
Now, as a bonus action, you can expend a use of Wild Shape to manifest a 5-foot radius emanation, which is just another fucking word for aura that they're obsessed with. It takes the form of ocean spray that surrounds you for 10 minutes.
Cool.
It ends early if you dismiss it, which doesn't require an action, manifest it again, or have the incapacitated condition. When you manifest it or use a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can choose another creature inside the emanation that you can see. They must succeed on a Constitution save against your spell save DC or take cold damage. That damage is a certain number of D6s depending on what your wisdom modifier is. So if your Wiz modifier is a 4, then it's 4d6. If your Wiz is a 5, then it's 5d6, so on and so forth.
Okay.
And if the target is large or smaller, they are also pushed up to 15 feet from you.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty good, right? It really is just a constant bonus action thing. You can do this every turn for 10 minutes. Bonus action, bonus action, bonus action. Just constantly be doing decent amounts of damage and pushing people away.
That's a solid amount of damage.
It's really good. There is, I'll just note for listeners, there is no, if they succeed, there's no half damage.
There's no half damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's your bonus action.
That's fair.
I mean, you're either using your bonus action for Healing Word, Misty Step, or fucking what else?
And is this push just this push just happens if they're larger or smaller? There's no save against that, right?
Great question. I don't know. I think it might be part of the save, the con save. I'm gonna take a peek ski into the book right now as we're talking. My understanding of it, just as it's written, I would think that it's like part of the thing. Like you have to, you fail, you take the damage and are pushed.
Well, but like on for Cal, when I do my push, it's just if I do lightning damage, and I have ways of always doing lightning damage. Even if you pass the save on Call Lightning, you still get pushed because it does some lightning damage.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. You manifest. No, it's part of the save. The target must succeed on a con saving throw against your spell save DC or take cold damage, and if the creature is large or smaller, be pushed up to 15 feet from you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So now they're tied together.
Gotcha. Okay. Still
But,
pretty decent. Still pretty decent as a bonus action. That's
pretty solid. Pretty solid, I would say.
With a max out whiz mod of, doing a 5d6 as a bonus action, and a push. That's not
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. I do think I could see myself getting bored with this though.
Yeah.
Every fight I'm doing the same fucking ability. Like that's boring to me.
So it doesn't say if you if you have more than one use of wild shape, you could technically do this and then take a shape as well. Am I
on your next turn? You mean
your next turn? Yeah, like on your next. So you do the emanation thing, you conjure that, and then you next turn wild shape into something.
I don't see why not.
It's a lot. It's a lot of steps.
No doubt, but I don't see why you couldn't.
That's fair.
There's also like new ways for druids to get wild shapes back by burning spell slots and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So, and wild shape has been changed pretty drastically with how it works with temporary hit points instead of taking on the actual stats of the monster or the beast that you're taking their form of.
Right.
Some big changes. Ones that I find completely unnecessary. But what else is new? Level 6.
Mm-hmm.
We get aquatic affinity. First of all, your Wrath of the Sea emanation is a 10-foot radius now. That's twice as good. And you gain a swim speed equal to your walking speed. Situational.
They're very situational, but, it's cool.
Any sea-based subclass always is going to have that, It just is what it is. But your sea emanation going up is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, definitely
and
more range on that.
At level 10, Stormborn, your Wrath of the Sea shit it's got 2 extra features now.
Okay.
You gain a fly speed equal to your walk speed.
Word.
That's fun. And you have resistance to cold, lightning, and thunder damage.
Okay. Thank God they give you something for sticking it out for 10 levels of this, because wow.
Mm-hmm. Every combat, you're fucking with some ocean spray around you. And now you can fly while you're doing
crust. Now you can
and it
fly
follows
around.
you, so yeah, it's like pretty cool. I mean, flying is obviously dope. The resistance to 3 different types of damage, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking solid. But that's it at level 10. Level 14, Oceanic Gift. Now, you can manifest your Wrath of the Sea around a friend instead of yourself.
Okay.
As long as you can see them and they're within 60 feet of you. They gain all of the benefits and use your spell save DC and wisdom modifier for all the stuff. If you expend
so they get the fly speed.
They get the fly speed, they get the resistance, all that shit.
Huh.
And if you expend 2 uses of wild shape, you can gift it and do it to yourself.
Okay.
Now you can just instantly have 2 people in your party flying around. Fly speed is equal to your walking speed. Doing a bunch of bonus action shit all the time.
All the time. It's cool. It's very situational. He said it about 1 million times going over this class. It's very situational. I think it'd be a pretty cool, like a coastal setting. I think it would do well in Sword Coast.
No doubt. Yeah, I really do just think the more often that water features show up in your game, the better that this subclass will be.
Yeah.
And that's true for any water-based subclass, whether it's, I think Warlocks, they came up with like the Fathomless or some shit. There's like a Paladin Oath that I think is kind of like something related to the sea. There's a ton out there. They're always going to feel this way of like, there's a world where they're just like dumb because you don't have any water stuff in your game.
Right.
But if you do, then this is obviously very powerful. I still stand by, I think I personally would get a little bored. Because it feels like this Wrath of the Sea thing is actually pretty fucking powerful, right? Especially as you level up. So it feels crazy not to use it. Like, why would I ever be like, actually I'm going to turn into a brown bear instead of doing 66 damage every fucking turn?
Right.
As a bonus action? Like, what? No, dog. It makes more sense to have Call Lightning going, and to be doing this as a bonus action every turn.
Right.
What? That's crazy. Yeah. Just feels nuts to do it any other way. And so,
yeah,
there's a small part of me that would get bored with this. But it's good.
It's good. Yeah, no, it's good. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's good. It's only a bonus action too. You know, is the other thing on that. It's like,
yeah, because
yeah,
it's a bonus action to activate it, and then a bonus action on every subsequent turn to just keep it popping. Which they did change every single, like it used to only be Circle of the Moon Druid uses a bonus action to wild shape, and they've changed that. Right. So now it's every single Druid bonus action wild shapes.
That's cool.
It is cool. It feels like you're taking a thing away from the.
I don't think
Druids,
so. But I think Circle of the Moon gets so much cool stuff anyway, of like with all the better creatures and stuff that they can turn into. I think it's just fair in my mind. I don't think it was fair to have the other ones have to do it as an action.
I just think it's like it never felt like. Yeah, I guess it depends, because it really was like for the Moon Druid, you wanted it as a bonus action because it's something that you're going to be doing in combat.
Right.
Other Druids, it doesn't really make sense to wild shape during combat. So you don't need a full action. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That was at least my thinking of it, was like, why would you wild shape in the middle of combat if you're not a Moon Druid? Like,
I've got 4
you're
HP
gonna turn it,
and I need a buffer.
You're better. You just cast a healing spell or something, because you're just going to turn into a little guy that has weaker AC probably and not as good of stats. And like realistically, because you're not a Moon Druid, you're turning into like a rat that has 1 HP. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I just never really saw the point of making it so that it was a bonus action. But I mean, it is definitely nicer if you're the Druid who doesn't want to do Moon Druid but does want it to be a bonus action, then of course it's good.
Right.
I've never been like, I've played a Druid once, and I remember just being like, during combat being like, there's no reason for me to wild shape. Like, if you're not a Moon Druid, wild shaping is so much more about scouting.
Right.
And like being tricky, like being elusive and stuff like that. Like it's never about like damage output. Whereas if you're the Moon Druid, it absolutely is, because you're like, I'm trying to go owlbear as fast as possible. But that is the Circle of the Sea Druid, kind of an antithesis to the Circle of the Land, except that one is remarkably different because it also gives you other bonus spells and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I mean, it's a good subclass. All these subclasses are good. The Bardic one is really interesting and fun. I think the Barbarian is probably the strongest one.
Yeah.
Just because of how fucking crazy it makes the Barbarian.
So cool.
It feels like it builds on the class so well.
Yeah.
You know? Circle of the Sea feels like it doesn't necessarily build on the class as much as it just gives you a different way to use wild shape, and then just makes that other way to use wild shape like far superior than anything else you'll do.
Right.
And then College of Eloquence Bard, the coolest thing about it, I think, is the unarmored defense and shit like that. Is just this idea.
Yeah, I like the bard, the bard martial arts combo is really fun, because that's basically what it is. It's basically just giving martial arts to the bard, which is really cool. Though
it would be cooler if they at least gave you a secondary attack, an extra attack, like an extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you only get one attack, so it's like let's be honest. When are you going to be doing an unarmed strike?
Right.
Unless you're concentrating on a spell and you're like, well, I got Vicious Mockery. Do I really want to do a D4's worth of damage? Or no, now it's a D6. But so.
Right.
It could definitely come up. I mean, there are plenty of time. I've played a bard a million times. There are plenty of times when somebody gets in close and you're like, I guess I will make a rapier attack. So definitely nice to have an option at least. But it does feel it feels interesting that they do have you are a bardic martial artist in some regards, but then they didn't kind of finish it.
Right.
All they needed to do to finish it was like, hey, at level 6 you also get extra attack. And hey, at level 14, you can use one of your attacks to cast a cantrip. Like, boom, there you go. Now it's done. Now we did it. But who knows, man? Yeah, at the end of the day, we'll just have to play these. Out of these three, I think we're both agreeing that Path of the World Tree sounds the most fun.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I think that would be the most fun. I still think there are other barbarian subclasses that I don't necessarily think are as good as this mechanically, but I think I would have more fun with them.
Yeah.
From a roleplay standpoint, unless I find an insane way to make the world tree thing make sense. Either because the setting actually has a world tree, you know? Like if we were doing a Norse mythology one, then obviously this subclass becomes that much more ingrained. But if we're not, then either the DM needs to invent a world tree or some kind of other thing that we can travel along.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Anyway, these are a bunch of really interesting subclasses. Let us know what you thought about these by sending us an email or something like that. We're available anywhere you find us. And also, thank you, Big Milk, for sponsoring this episode.
Okay, yeah.
Dairy is an important part of your daily nutritional stuff, and also milk.
Okay, yeah, that's all we can get into this time. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at SoYouWannaBeaDM, or you can ask us a question at SoYouWannaBeaDM@gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us, and check out the Patreon and the Twitch pages with the link in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye!
See you.
And now I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nub Muffins, may Paylor's light shine upon you. And then there's Lee, Tappy, and Molly. We appreciate each and every one of you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Wanna Be a DM.